All right. Welcome, guys, to another special episode of the Anime Match Good podcast. As always, I am your humble host, Jack. With me is my lovely and favorite co-host,
Ryu. What's up, guys?
What's
My voice
up?
is better now. I'm not sick.
Nice. All right, so today, guys, we have a very special episode for you guys. We're going to be talking about the new Disney Pixar masterpiece, Elemental. Elemental is a 2023 computer animated film. It is directed by Peter Schoen, who was the director of The Good Dinosaur. And so this is the new...
I like The Good Dinosaur.
Mm-hmm.
It's cute.
Yeah, and so and that's actually a word that I would use to describe this new movie. It's very cute, very adorable, charming, if you will. So basically what this movie is about, it's a romance story, which is a type of movie that we don't really usually get from Pixar. Usually they don't focus on romances. That's actually something more that I would expect from just a regular Disney movie, like Beauty and the Beast or like, Little Mermaid or stuff like that.
It was a good change.
Yeah, it was a good change of pace. The story actually reminded me a lot of Romeo and Juliet. I got a lot of Romeo and Juliet vibes. So let's just sort of talk about what this movie's about. So this movie takes place in a world where the four basic elements are personified as anthropomorphic characters. So in this city, you have people who are made of water, people who are made of fire, people who are made of like earth and plants. And then air is represented by people who are clouds. And so you have like these four different types of essentially races living together in this city, coexisting. But underneath the surface, there's like a lot of prejudice and a lot of, basically prejudice. It kind of mirrors like our world, how our world just has, where sometimes just the different people can't get along. So there's little prejudices, stereotypes, and, people just have to, learn to live and coexist. But the main story focuses on basically a fire family. So the movie basically focuses on this fire family, and essentially this fire family are immigrants. They're immigrants to the city because they came from another land. So this family consists of a mother and a father and their daughter. And so the parents, when they were younger, they immigrated to the city for better opportunities for their family. And oftentimes they end up facing a lot of discrimination. But despite that, they're able to open up their own shop in their neighborhood, and they're able to cater to their own people. And they're able to create a pretty nice community in the section of the city that they live in. So
this section was abandoned. It was used to be all about the plant elements, but since the city section was abandoned, the first ever family we got introduced are the fire elements.
Yeah,
and they made it into their own home. And then years later, a bunch of their kind came to that section and just made into their own community. Yeah, and I forgot they named it something. What was the name again? It was Firetown.
Yeah, they basically called it like that, like Firetown, something like that. Let me see if I have it here in my phone.
Well, while he searched for it, it's basically just following this first family that arrived in Elemental City, because the second you go in, we just focus on the family. They have their tradition of the blue flame that makes the family follow all their traditions, and you go to the place where all the elements gets drop off. Yeah. And in the drop off station inside the building, it shows the first elements that arrived, then the second, then the third. If I remember the order, the first one was air or earth. I think it was earth first, and then it was air, and then it was water. No, water was first, I think. I don't really remember. It just shows water, then air, and then earth. And then fire now got introduced as the fourth element showing up, but there's still a small community still.
Yeah, so I couldn't find the name of the neighborhood that they live in, but I know that their little shop, their convenience store, is called the Fireplace. So, but the story mostly focuses around this fire family. Let me remember their names. So in the movie, the daughter's name is Ember. The dad's name is Bernie and the mother's name is Cinder. So it basically focuses on Bernie, Cinder, and their daughter Ember. At the beginning of the movie, it really focuses mostly on how Bernie and Cinder basically, start from the ground up. They create their convenience store, they raise their daughter, and then hopefully one day the father will be able to retire and give the store to his daughter. But his daughter still needs to prove herself to her father, so that he can be confident that he can leave the store with her, because one of the big problems that she has is that she has trouble controlling her emotions and learning how to handle difficult customers. And
she really is not emotionally prepared to handle a store.
And as somebody who has worked in retail in the past, I actually can really empathize with the daughter Ember, is that, sometimes there are those customers that really test your patience. You know what I mean? There's these customers, a lot of them. Yeah, there's these customers who feel like, they feel entitled and they feel like they can bend the rules and, just make your day just much more difficult. And I get it. It's really hard to keep your cool in those situations. Mostly what I would have done if I was like in that position, which, this is stuff that I've actually gone, similar things that I've gone through. I would just try to keep my cool and not take it personal. But, there's just some people who just, they really get under your skin.
You seem to be the expert, Jack.
Well, yeah, because I do have a lot of experience working in retail, like, Target, Lowe's, those stores. Those stores. Especially Lowe's. Lowe's had like a lot of difficult customers that we'd have to deal with from time to time. But one thing that really kicks off the story is that during a particular day, they're having a discount sale.
Red dot sale. That's what they call it, the red dot sale.
And during this sale, the father leaves the daughter in charge to handle the business. But she immediately...
It was basically a test by the father to see if she was ready to take over the family shop. Because during the whole time where she's been growing up, he's been testing her to see if she can handle certain tasks.
Yeah, so she immediately gets overwhelmed, and she gets so overwhelmed that she basically blows up in like a blaze. And the blaze ends up damaging the pipes, the plumbing in her dad's shop. And through the damaged pipes, we get to meet our second protagonist, a water person named Wade. And Wade works for the city. He is sort of like an inspector. Like not really like a health inspector. He more handles like more like contractor type inspections. He's like a safety inspector essentially.
Yes.
And so he finds out that from his inspection, he sees that the store has a lot of violations.
37 to be exact.
Oh, 37. Oh, I wonder if that's a reference to the movie Clerks. 37? 37?
Yeah, because she was very angry when she found out how many citations they had, because she keeps revealing to him her father built everything on her own and say, wait, without a permit? My father did this. Without this? She was the reason why he got 37 citations.
Yeah, and and it was a pretty funny scene how like at first when she's talking to Wade, it kind of feels like, oh, Wade's gonna turn a blind eye, maybe he's gonna be charmed by her, but then he reveals like he did all this without a permit, and it's actually pretty funny. And so from there it kind of leads into a chase. She has to chase Wade down to make sure that he doesn't turn in the citations. And then so things go awry, things go wrong, and it doesn't go exactly to plan. And so now the main plot of the story is for both Wade and Ember to convince Wade's boss not to close down Ember's family's shop. Yeah. And so we're basically going to leave it right there for now because we don't want to reveal too much of the story.
Yeah, because it basically volunteering stays in that one point, not closing down the shop. That's it.
Yeah, and so that basically becomes the main conflict of the story. But at the same time, a romance starts to begin to blossom between the two young protagonists. And so before we continue on, let's just give our initial thoughts on the movie. So I'll go first.
All right, go for it because mine's going to be long.
So I I had a fun time. I thought that the movie was really enjoyable. I wouldn't say that it's my favorite Pixar movie of all time, but then again, I just feel like this era of Pixar is just not made for me. I kind of grew up during the time of Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, those
Couple
kinds
Penna,
of movies.
How You Train Your Dragon.
Oh, well, that's DreamWorks, not Pixar.
I know, but I'm just naming out the childhood movies on my part.
Okay, but I'm just trying to give the audience like context, like to the kind of Pixar movies I like, or at least the ones that hold a lot of nostalgia for me. But with that being said, I actually really enjoyed my time watching the movie because I really enjoyed the characters in the movie. I really enjoyed the two characters, the main characters, the young couple. I really enjoyed their romance. I thought it was very adorable, very cute. I thought I really appreciated a lot of the things in the story that had to do with Ember's family, mostly because they reflect sort of like this immigrant experience that a lot of people can relate to because my parents were they immigrated from Mexico, and a lot of the things that that Ember and her dad, Ember and her mom go through are similar things that I've seen in my life and other people's lives around me. And so it felt very well done how they handled that aspect of the story. And I thought it made the movie very unique because they were telling this sort of like story about like a girl whose parents are immigrants and what they sacrificed for her. So I thought that was a very lovely thing about the story. So I really enjoyed it. But again, it's not really like my favorite Pixar movie. This sort of era of Pixar has not been my favorite so far, but I was pleasantly surprised by this one.
That's at least good. You enjoyed it at least.
Yeah, because I can't deny that I did not enjoy it. This is just like a movie that just kind of didn't. It didn't really hit the right spots for me for it to be like my favorite Pixar movie. I think maybe like Ratatouille or like The Incredibles, like those movies are more of my favorites. But then again, I grew up on that stuff. But yeah, those are basically my initial thoughts on Elemental.
All right.
But how did you feel?
Well, for me, feeling about this one, I already knew about the concept of that already. Because one thing, those kind of romance the two elements of falling in love with each other, even though they're both opposite elements. Dude, long time ago, there's people
in a galaxy far, far away.
In a galaxy far, far away. Yes. There was a lot of people drawing fan art of elements already.
And
it was like the biggest thing for me already, because I was in that generation where what would be cute to if elements were real, what two couples would be amazing, fire and water and earth and air. And they literally did that in the movie. An air girl and an earth man fell in love because of a game, and a fireman lady and a man water guy fell in love. There was like all like search up element couples drawn.
Yes.
And you will see all of those drawings of like them making them date, married. You had like element children of both elements together and all that. It was so like big deal for me because I was growing up by the time where they were doing that. And then when the movie came out, like, I see. They looked at in the internet and saw they were doing that. So now they're making a movie about it. Well, I see. I see what you're doing.
It's a very clever idea because one thing that you mentioned about the coupling is that yes, like the main couple, they are opposite like elements essentially because fire cancels out water and vice versa. And that's one thing that I really liked about the story is like I liked how they made everything make sense about their relationship, because like there's like so many people, like there's so many characters in this movie that are just constantly telling Ember it's not gonna work out, a water man and a fire woman will never can never be together. And then but the movie there's like so many scenes of them just coming together and just like becoming like a stronger couple.
They get attracted to each other. Even the mother is like, Amber, when would you get married? And then when she finally actually fall in love, and the mother's like, she got that sniffer 9000, man. Oh, that one scene when they were running away, the mother smelled like love.
Before you go ahead, spoiler alert, just to let you know. All right, go ahead.
And she just was like, the second they were walking away, she just said, love, and she just like sniffing, finding Amber. She had that sniffer 9000 on Amber. It was like, yo, this woman followed Amber all the way towards Watertown.
Yeah, I like that scene. It was very funny. I also like the fact that that scene kind of just like really makes you as an audience understand that, you know, Ember can't hide like those feelings. It's very obvious that she has those feelings for Wade. One other scene that I liked with the mother and Ember and Wade is like in the movie, they have the fire people have this sort of tradition that's kind of like a matchmaking ceremony where the two fire people have to like burn, I forget, what was it, candles or was it?
Burn the sticks with their flame.
Incense. Yes,
yeah, incense.
So the both people participating in the ceremony have to be able to burn the incense, and the smoke from the incense tells the couple if they're right for each other. But because Wade is not a fire person, he cannot, you know, create a flame. But the way that they get around it is actually, I think, was a very beautiful, like, little clever turnaround. Wade uses the reflection, like he basically reflects the light off of Ember through his water, and almost creating like a magnifying glass. He burns the incense stick, and the incense starts burning. And I thought that was a very beautiful scene, and I felt that was like a very clever scene to show how much their bond and their relationship has grown. I thought it was very beautiful.
It was very cute. I liked it.
Yeah, because I was really surprised that the romance was really well done in this movie particularly, because not really Pixar, but Disney has often been criticized by how the movies handle the romance. You know, a lot of people have criticized like old Disney movies for just having a 1 or 3 day romance, and then they're basically like, you know, soulmates by the end of it. And then this one it gives it a little bit more it gives it more time to focus on the relationship, because, you know, at first they start off as, you know, as complete opposites, and then they start to warm up to each other, pun intended.
Yeah.
And, you know, we see them go out like on like dates and stuff, and we see them, you know, like, you know, Ember meets Wade's family, and it's very nice. It really plays out like a very like real and genuine relationship, except, you know, it's in a cartoon. And I liked how they handled that. How did you feel how they handled the romance aspect of this movie?
I really like it because they built the characters of Ember and her family first.
Yeah.
Build what she's been working on. And then she reveals like, I'm not gonna date anyone, and the mother even hinted it too, like
she's very headstrong.
Yeah, and the mother even hinted it like, not like this one here. She's dry, alone forever.
Oh my god.
And the child just like, mama, and like, mother,
yeah,
I don't love anybody. I'm too busy. Like something like that. The cliche thing why people don't a single person doesn't date.
Yeah.
It's so very cute how they reference that and show how strong characters become, like more emotional people. Like headstrong people get strong, like, I don't need nobody. And then when they found that one person that clicks with them, they make them feel a different certain way. They stop being that strong person. They open up and become someone else.
Yeah, that's one thing that I actually did like about sort of like how the story progresses, because you can really tell that Ember is this type of person who has her walls up. And they show this throughout the movie. Wade is somebody who's very emotionally open, because we often see him like, you know, just like straight up start bawling his eyes out, crying. So you know, so they're opposites. And you know, as their relationship continues to grow and grow and grow, we see that Ember, her walls are starting to be, you know, torn down, or she starts to like open up a little bit more. And then, you know, because that's really like the one thing that's really like keeping them like apart.
Yeah, because basically, throughout the whole movie, if you've seen it, all of them were avoiding touching each other. But you see scenes where it will be natural for them to do it during the whole movie.
Yeah,
they're like, they try to like do a simple high five or anything. They forget it in the moment about to do it, but the second they realize who they were, they're of different elements. They just stop like midway, and then just like they comfort themselves doing it.
Yeah.
And then later on, they were like still like hesitating, but they decided to just go for it when they finally held hands. And once in that one scene, they finally broke that barrier and they held each other for the first time.
Yeah.
In like a week. Their other story is this whole story is a duration in 1 week. And then their relationship started dating like after that week. It lasted for 1 week of their relationship, and then they finally start dating, or I don't know, like a week or two later. And then they continue on through Amber's thing. Because if I reveal too much, you guys are gonna be like, "Oh, the movie's all ruined to me."
But also, one thing that I liked about this movie is how it handled Ember's family. Because I mentioned earlier that Ember's family is supposed to represent sort of like the immigrant experience of like immigrants coming to America, and a lot of the things that they dealt with in their story is things that you really don't see a lot in like movies. Because not only do the family face xenophobia and prejudice, the dad also has like a lot of prejudice himself
towards water people, watering them down.
Yeah, and and that's actually something that we see a lot with different groups of people. It's not always like
sunshines and rainbows.
It's not always sunshine and rainbows with what they go through. Because even like people who face prejudice also have their own prejudices within themselves, towards other people. And I thought that was really interesting on how they played that, because it didn't make the father seem like like a completely like a completely good guy. It also showed that he has like a lot of faults within him too. And also one thing that I really appreciated about Ember's story is her need to like make her father proud and not let her family down. Because in the movie, her biggest thing is like, I gotta continue on the family business. I gotta make my father proud. My father needs me. And I thought the way that they handled it was really good. I especially like there's this thing in the movie. I'm not gonna spoil too much of it, but there's a flashback that the dad, the character Bernie, tells Ember, when I left my homeland, I showed my dad the proper respect before I left. Like he did like this sort of gesture, this bow to his father to show respect towards his father, but his father didn't do it back.
It was supposed to be a sign of permission. He was asking permission and asking for his father's permission and acceptance of his choice of going. Yeah. But his father never gave him the choice.
Yeah.
Or the permission to go on with his choice. So for him, it was the biggest...
it was like the biggest regret of his life.
Yeah. Not able to stay behind with his family.
Yeah.
And be accepted. Because to him, he to his mind, his parents would never know how proud that he made himself and how much work he has done to make his family big as he made them.
Yeah. But
but in the end, when Amber did it,
the father
gave
returned
her the respect back and gave her the kindness and the gesture right back.
Yeah, he returned the gesture, and that was actually a very satisfying moment within the movie, because that little backstory got paid off well at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I like how when they say certain things, they don't like stop doing it.
Yeah, because this movie has a very good structure to it. It's a very nicely written movie, because things have a build up and a payoff, and there's like nothing in the movie that I would say that would need to be like cut out or whatever, because the movie knows how to build something up, set up a conflict, and then set up a resolution. So it's a very well structured story, and it's a very good love story too, because it gives you all those scenes that you want to see in a love story. But one thing, let me ask you about the setting. Did you think that this setting reminded you a little bit too much of Zootopia?
A little bit, yes. It did kind of remind me of Zootopia.
Yeah, because that was like one thing that I just couldn't get over is that, we've sort of seen Disney do like these type of like city environments a little bit too much recently, because I also got like a little bit of Coco vibes, because basically, that story basically takes place mostly in the city of the dead, and Zootopia takes place in this big city
Of zoo animals.
And so each city has like these little intricate like things that make it like not the same as like a real world, but but I just couldn't help but think of Zootopia because of this setting, mostly just the setting, not so much the story.
No, it had their own thing. Like I really like a one set space, because all the buildings in that city, all the buildings are created differently. If you noticed.
Yeah, because they have to accommodate for the different peoples.
Yeah, because Air has like wind bags for homes.
Yeah,
but we really didn't get into it. But Earth has earth buildings and grass leaves and tree branches all around the corners of the building. Well, the water folk have home glass and glass cups and glass everything. Have to accompany with their meals and food and all that.
Yeah.
And fire has metal, because and metal can resist to fire at a point of degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very interesting how each home is created for each specific element.
I also really liked how in the movie they the characters, well, especially like the fire people, we got to see how like they use like their body and their abilities, because oftentimes like in the movie, like something would break, like a piece of glass, and Ember would like use like her body and just like her abilities to like reshape the glass, put it back together. Or like if there was like something broken, like a pipe was breaking, she would use like her fire to like heat up the metal and like weld it back together. And I like those little details of the story. I'm glad that they did like a lot of those. And also we see like the water people also like do things like that, because like Wade, if he gets too hot, he vaporizes, he turns into steam. Or like that one scene where they talk about his trauma with the sponge. He gets stuck in the sponge.
Yes.
Yeah, and I also like how like,
and the weather people, when they get angry enough, they turn lightning.
Yeah, I like little elements like that in these types of stories.
And when plants touch fire, they burn.
Yeah. So one thing that I also wanted to mention about this movie is that this movie came out at a weird time, because so have you been paying attention to like movies coming out this summer?
Not really. I just paying attention on the anime that's coming out.
So this summer of movies is been one of like the worst like performing summers in terms of like box office for movies. A lot of movies have been underperforming or bombing at the box office.
Oh yeah, to just name a few: Fury X and the new Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, so Indiana Jones, Fast 10. So just like a lot of these movies have been bombing at the box office, and unfortunately, this movie is also like a victim of it. So this movie actually cost $200 million to produce. And
I really like this movie.
And yeah,
I was hoping for a sequel to come out.
I don't know if there's enough there for a sequel, but
they can go on with the Amber having kids and them going through their lives, how everyone's now starting to mix match their relationships, because there were scenes of a kid, and a earth kid and a fire mixing together, wind and air, water and fire. I really want to see this movie to continue on with in the future when we come back. Amber and Wade has a home complementing them both and having kids.
Maybe, yeah, but
also the other relationships as well. I want to see that. I really want to see their own representation of how it will look like of two different elements having a child. Because my one thing for fire and earth, lava child, molten rock child. That's one idea they can use as when they grown as adults. Them having molten rock children. They have the ability of both, of being earth, so they can cool themselves off and become a hard stone rock dirt person and do the same thing as earth people and
Yeah.
do the same thing as fire, able to melt metals and glass down, but because they only have like half the ability to do so, or not enough firepower to do much.
Yeah, but
Because because if they do trying to do an earth thing that requires 100% of earth, and they only use half of their ability to do it, they only are only as half strong. Same thing with fire. They're trying to do something fire, they can only do half of the strength of the fire people.
I don't know.
Usually, it's whatever they want to think of. But that's one of my ideas for fire and earth.
Yeah, but you also have to come up with with a strong story, one that also kind of like can satisfy the same way as this one, because a lot of what makes this one great is the relationships within the story, and also like the meaning behind it. So it's not just like your comic book geek fandom like little
I'm
rant.
just giving them ideas that they do.
Yeah.
And they want to show children of the both elements.
But there has to be,
that's what they can do.
But there has to be more than just that. Your little,
I know, but I'm just giving the
your little OCs.
Shut the hell up! I'm just saying when they do come back in their own reputation of a second movie, if they decide to have children, that's what they can do.
Well, I have some bad news for you, bud. They're not gonna come back, because as of recording, the movie has only grossed $291 million at the worldwide box office. So it's severely underperformed at the box office, because one thing that you also have to remember is that not only does a movie have to make back its budget, it also has to make back the movie that they spent in marketing. So usually movies like this, like I can probably feel confident saying that Disney probably spent over $100 million advertising this movie on TV, the internet, social media, bus ads, billboards, and other kinds of things that they did to market the movie. So unfortunately, the movie really underperformed. And the movie also got like a lot of unfair criticism, because it came out right after Into the Spider-Verse. So a lot of people were kind of like criticizing this movie, saying like, oh, Spider-Verse is such a game changer. It really like brought the animation industry to like new heights, and then Pixar is just doing the same old thing again. And that's one of the things that kind of like worries me about like these types of movies, is that Pixar really doesn't like innovate anymore. Have you noticed?
No, I have not.
Like because like remember like back in the day, like when the first Toy Story came out, and like movies like Monsters Inc. and Finding Nemo, they were like so new and so fresh, and there were like movies that we hadn't seen before. Like that type of movie we haven't really seen before. Like 3D animation was so young back then, but now everybody is doing 3D animation. And the thing about Spider-Verse is that Spider-Verse is really pushing new techniques and new art styles forward. And it almost seems like Pixar is kind of stuck in the past. Like Pixar and Disney and DreamWorks just seem to be stuck too much in the past, and they don't seem to like move forward. Because that new Ninja Turtles movie is coming out in August. I think August 2nd. And
it's actually coming out next month. We're going to go watch that.
Yeah, and then that one also kind of doing like a Spider-Verse type thing, because it's using like the low frame animation, and like the textures are all stylized. It looks like a lot of like the textures on the characters and the backgrounds look hand drawn, very similar to Spider-Verse. And I know I was dunking a little bit on DreamWorks a little bit, but DreamWorks really experimented with that type of Spider-Verse animation with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. So you are seeing more and more 3D animated films try to emulate the Spider-Verse style, while Disney is kind of doing like the same old thing with this one. Because one thing I will say about the art style is that the art style just seems too similar to like other like Disney and Pixar productions, because the kind of like Wade kind of reminded me a lot of like Soul. Do you remember the movie Soul?
Yes.
Like, do you remember like kind of like basically like the souls, the way that they look like? They were all kind of blobby, almost kind of like ghost little characters.
Yep.
Wade kind of reminded me of that kind of design, and a lot of the characters also reminded me of like characters from like Inside Out too. And it just kind of seemed that Pixar was just doing like the same old thing, while at the same time Spider-Verse comes out and just blows everything out of the water. Do you have any thoughts on just like where animated films are at right now?
I really like how the animations art that's coming out. I really like all of it. Like again, back to the Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse really like make it pop how animation should be now. But the old animation is still okay. Like the one for Elements, I really like how they made the animation.
Yeah,
everything was really cool.
It was really well animated too.
Yes, it was really well animated, and I was so sad to hear that they're not gonna come back.
Probably not. Maybe they'll. Disney likes. Well, one thing that Disney likes to do a lot is like they like to make TV shows out of their shows. Because I remember that when Tangled came out, Tangled got
a TV
series on Disney Channel
because it boomed.
And did you remember Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, the one Buzz Lightyear show from like years ago, like almost 20 years ago?
Yes. From Toy Story.
The Emperor's New School. Do you remember that one?
The Emperor's Groove.
Yeah. So Disney really likes to do those kinds of like projects, like spin-off projects. So who knows? Disney might decide to do like a sequel series. They'll probably.
It's just like sorry to interrupt. It's just like the How You Train Your Dragon and Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
After their first movie came out, they made an anime series, and then the anime series ended. The second movie came out. Back to the animated series.
Yeah.
Then the third movie came out. Back to the animated series. Then the fourth movie came out. Well, Kung Fu Panda's animation series still going with the 3 little pandas now.
Yeah.
But How You Train Your Dragon continue on to that cycle until their very last movie, and then they did an anime series of the gang in the future where Toothless' children are now older now, and Toothless and his wife is all gone. I haven't seen that yet. I don't know what happened, but I'm very curious what happened, what he did with the anime series of that, with Toothless children and a new gang. Because only thing I saw were just clips and bits of Toothless showing the cave of Toothless, his family, his wife, and Hiccup there.
The white dragon, right? Is that his wife?
Yeah, the White Fury.
Yeah, because I didn't see that last one.
You haven't seen the last How You Train Your Dragon?
So
the movie?
I remember, you know what? I don't even think I saw the second one. I know I saw the first one because I really liked the first one when it came out.
Yeah, they made 3 movies. The first one was introducing Hiccup and Toothless, and then the anime series. Then the second one reveals that Hiccup and Asterisk is now dating, and they're being pushed to be married, which makes sense because in the anime series they started having little relationship, and then finally they start dating each other, and then it continue on, and then they stop until the second movie came out. Then the third movie came up of Hiccup finally because like going out in adventure, because in the anime series he starts exploring, finding new dragons, everything, and his father's been trying to teach Hiccup how to take care for his family. Then the third one is like basically Hiccup taking over what his dad died. Wait, no. Yeah, the second one died, and the third one is him covering up what his dad died, and he's become chieftain. And then the fourth movie... Fourth one? Yeah.
No, there's only been 3. Well, there technically is going to be a fourth movie, because you know why?
Why?
DreamWorks is going to remake How to Train Your Dragon in live action.
Shit.
They're going to reboot it in live action. They're going to start all over.
Oh, no.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, no. So I didn't really catch like a lot of like How to Train Your Dragon too much because I mentioned a little bit earlier that I'm not really a big fan of this era of Pixar, mostly because I just kind of like dropped out of like watching like animated movies because I just sort of started to notice that more and more animated movies I just didn't really like. I mentioned Inside Out, and I know people are gonna hate me for this. I didn't like Inside Out. I didn't really enjoy that movie too much. I thought it was really annoying. And it was kind of a blow to me because I used to really, really love Pixar. Like everything Pixar would come out with, I would love it. Maybe except Cars. I never really liked Cars. But then I just started to notice that a lot of more and more Pixar movies I started not to enjoy. But there's some from the last few years that I do enjoy. Coco I enjoyed, Turning Red I enjoyed, Soul I liked a lot, but not every single one I've enjoyed. How do you feel about like the new Pixar movies that have come out recently?
There were some I didn't like, some of them were good.
Yeah, because I was thinking about it the other day because really I stopped paying attention to Pixar after the movie Up. Up is when I stopped really like wanting to go see the movies in theaters. Because after that, it was Toy Story 3. What did you think of Toy Story 3?
Which one was Toy Story again?
It's the one where like Andy grows up, goes to college, and the toys get donated to a preschool or a daycare. I forget.
No,
which
not
one.
daycare. They were given to a kid. I remember it.
But in the movie, they're stuck at a daycare for most of the movie, and then they get gifted to the girl. I think her name is Bonnie.
Yep.
So I actually enjoyed that one, but after that one, it was Cars 2, which I've never seen because I don't give a shit about cars. What did you think of it?
Hold on, I'm trying to remember what was Cars 2. It was the World Prix, I think it was.
Yeah, they were like they were basically like secret agents. They were like spies.
Oh yeah, it was all
Mater.
Yeah, it was for Cars 2. It was a reference towards Mater's short films.
Mm-hmm.
And so they actually made an actual movie following Mater being a spy, because all the Mater short films, like, oh, I was abducted in a UFO. Oh, I was actually a stunt driver. I was actually once a flight pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the stories, and then in the end, they showed that Mater was that.
Yeah.
And Lightning McQueen never believed it. In this movie, they actually did the Mater short. Him actually being an agent, being intrusive, thinking he was an agent. Mm-hmm. And he goes the whole thing of Mater being a spy, and Lightning McQueen say, wait, you're a spy? Like, I told you my life was interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I just skipped that one because I just don't really like Cars. I don't really like think it's funny or interesting or anything like that. But after Cars, it was Brave. Brave was a movie that I really did not.
Brave.
Oh,
I loved Brave. Brave was such good animation, and the kills and everything. I love those type of stuff. I loved it. It wasn't good. And I scrubbed it up. It's like the voice of it makes it so good. I love the accent and the voice.
I don't know. I just remember that summer I was more interested in other films. Like that was the
Merida, no weapons on the table.
Oh my god. Yeah, because I just remember.
A princess is not allowed to wield the weapons.
Yeah.
A proper deer, shoulder straight, arms leveled, and be proper. Merida, do not shoot that bow. I forbid it.
You can forbade these nuts.
I will shoot you with my MP4 right now, boy.
In Minecraft. In Minecraft.
Oh yeah, Minecraft. Yes, Minecraft. I was using my imagination. I'm going.
In Minecraft.
In Minecraft, yes, Minecraft, yes.
Yeah, I just remember when that movie came out, I was more interested in like movies like The Dark Knight Rises and The Avengers because that was the same summer it came out. So I was interested in other things other than that movie. And then Monsters University. Now I actually went to go see Monsters University. I had a good time, but I felt that Monsters Inc. was the much better movie than Monsters University.
No, duh, because Monsters University was them going into Monsters University. But
Inc. Monsters University just seemed like they were just trying to do like those old like 80s college movies, but for kids. And I'm like, nah, I don't really want to see like a toned down version of those 80s college comedies.
Whatever. It was, for me, I didn't really care. I just thought that the order could have been different. They could have done the university thing and then Monsters Inc. Because it really revealed hidden truths from the first movie. Because if you remember the Abominable Snowman.
Yeah, he's at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he says something about like tampering mail or something. Like he reveals that he does sus shit at the company.
Yeah, and then that's the reason why he got kicked out to the real world.
Yeah. Okay, I actually like that.
And then part. Remember that always walking. Also, remember when I said we'll be always watching? That was her from the first movie. And when they said we'll be watching you boys, we will always be watching. And then she came out again, number 1, saying, "Remember, boys, when I told you before, we'll be always watching, always watching." And Michael Kowalski goes like, "Oh, creep." And they're like, "Oh, why'd she keep saying that?" Like that because they were referencing from when they first introduced each other in college when they were in college.
Yeah. Because
she was number 1. She had a mask on, and then when she revealed herself again without the mask, she's like, oh, "You were the one." Because they referenced it like, "Wait, you're the one from before."
Quick question. Do you feel that Mike Wazowski and Sully should have been played by younger voice actors instead of the same ones from the first movie?
I'm okay with it. It's still like
I kind of felt that maybe Mike and Sully should have been voiced by younger actors. That was just my thing, because it just felt a little bit odd because their actors were already like old when the first movie came out, so them playing like younger, it just kind of it was kind of jarring. So after that, 2014, I don't think anything came out 2014 for Pixar, because
the Guardians.
Guardians of the Galaxy?
No, not Guardians. The Guardians.
Guardians of...
Just Guardians.
No, that was DreamWorks. I'm thinking Pixar.
Oh.
So yeah, so I don't think anything came out 2014. 2015? No. I don't remember if anything came out.
Any of the Ice Age movies?
I don't think anything came out 2015. I'm trying to rack my... Because I know 2016 was Finding Dory. Did you watch Finding Dory?
I did.
I don't really remember anything about the movie.
I did. I remember every detail.
Oh shit! Oh, we got the #1 Finding Dory fan.
No, I just remember movies. I know what's the contest is, just Dory trying to find her family again, and while Merlin and Mimo just trying to keep her alive because they know that she has memory loss. Then Dory gets caught, got to a exposure where her family was living in an aquarium. Then she remembers bits and pieces here. Merlin and Emo goes to get Dory back. Go do a little adventure. There's a quirky seagull and seals and everything to try to go into the building to get Dory. Dory gets relocated to a different town.
I do remember one thing.
Stop the truck that the Dory was in with a couple of friends, and then they go back home and they show a little reference of the fishes from first movie when they were bagged. I do remember 2 things about the movie. What's up? The paranoid octopus, Hank. I remember him. And also at the same time, they the news, like a lot of news sources were making a big deal that Finding Dory was gonna have like a lesbian couple in the movie. And you know where the lesbian couple ended up being in the movie? They showed up for like 2 seconds in the background of the aquarium where the movie takes place. That's it. They didn't even have lines. And so I looked up what came out in 2014 and 2015 from Pixar. Nothing really came out, like in terms of like movies. Nothing came out in 2014, but 2015 was The Good Dinosaur and Inside Out. And like I said, The Good Dinosaur.
I've seen parts of The Good Dinosaur. I don't think I've seen the whole movie, so I can't really say a lot about it. But
it's a good movie. It was very adorable, but the story could have been a little bit better.
That's what I've always been hearing about that movie, is the story could have been a lot better. But Inside Out, that's a movie I really didn't like. I didn't really enjoy that one.
The concept of souls going to people is like a big thing. Like
I liked Soul much better than Inside Out, though.
Inside Out is only about the emotions of a single person and how their minds are working. Yeah,
but you know what it is. I didn't hate the concept. I just didn't like
the story of how they work it. They could have been a little bit different.
The story was fine. I just didn't like the actors. I didn't like the characters and the actors. Like Joy, I found super annoying. Like anytime that she was on screen, I was always cringing because you know what I hate. I hate like overly positive and upbeat people.
That's what Joy is.
Yeah, but she learns that it's also sometimes good to be sad and like to process your emotions. But I think just like in general, I just hate that type of like personality. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, that's you. But we're talking about emotions of the people inside. Your Joy is already dead.
Yeah, so
you're disgusted right now.
By the logic of the movie. I don't know who's the captain or who's the leader. I don't know if it's anger or sadness or disgust. It's probably anger.
More disgust and anger. So the first pilot is disgust. The second pilot is anger.
Yeah.
Third pilot is sadness. The fourth pilot is fright, and the fifth pilot is joy.
Yeah, I'm a miserable prick. Yeah, joy gets nothing to do in my body.
What about me? Because I just label you down to the very T.
One thing that I did like about the movie.
What about me?
Oh, you?
Yeah, what about me? Well, who's my co-pilot? Because I'm a range in emotions.
Shit. You don't really get angry too much. Not that I've noticed.
I control my anger.
Yeah. And you're not like disgust. You're not always like, like you have a pretty positive attitude. I would probably feel confident saying that maybe the joy is your first pilot, like your main pilot, and then maybe like the little fear guy, is like your second, and maybe disgust. Disgust is like your number 3. Sadness, you're pretty like you're a pretty upbeat guy, but you also control your anger. So I don't know whether or not to put sadness last or anger last. I'm gonna just do this. Anger is the last one, and then sadness is right before it. So you'll probably be like joy, the little fear dude, disgust, sadness, and then you're probably anger at the very last.
Now you know our characteristics. Come find us, women. Got him. All right.
Yeah, because I'm a miserable prick.
I'm a joy and I'm a joy.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I just didn't really like how the story. The story was fine. I just really didn't like the characters. Like that was probably like the first Pixar movie where I did not like the characters. After that, Finding Dory, 2017, Coco. I fucking loved Coco.
Coco was good.
Coco made me cry in the theaters.
Actually, they started making memes about Coco now.
Oh, what are the memes?
It just remember that photo when they finally found out who is the true singer and creator of the songs?
Oh, those. Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, there was one where it's one of the screens, one of the titles it says, you finding out the most lonely, with zero risk person in the world, and it's you. Mm-hmm. And then you put out together is a picture of you saying you're the most person with zero risk, no women, no bitches, no nothing.
Yeah,
it's just an insult. Like you've been looking for who's the truly person with no risk, no nothing, and it's finding out it's you.
Yeah. I really enjoyed Coco. I like the attention to detail to the Mexican culture. It was just so well done. Very well done. Like the little town that they live in the real world, it really looks like an authentic Mexican village, like a modern Mexican Day village. They really did their research on the holiday. It looked beautiful. And yeah, it just made me fucking cry, dude. It was a really good movie. Like their best movie in like years, I thought. And it was original too. It wasn't a sequel. It wasn't like a prequel or a remake of anything. It was an original story based on a culture. And
same thing as really Kung Fu Panda. They did the same thing.
Yeah, but different goals. Kung Fu Panda, it's comedy action. That was more like, like
but
drama.
I'm saying as how they followed the traditions and the art.
But most of Kung Fu Panda's cast is not Chinese.
They're all white men, yeah.
Except for Jackie Chan and Lucy Liu.
Yeah, I know. But when Kung Fu Panda came out, a lot of Chinese people saying like, how can an American Western get our culture correctly and we couldn't?
Yeah. But thankfully nobody's been wanting to cancel Kung Fu Panda. But at least Coco, all of the actors are Hispanic actors. So that's actually pretty good. That's pretty cool that they did that.
Oh, cool.
2018, Incredibles 2. What did you think of Incredibles 2? I'll say this. Incredibles is one of my favorite Pixar movies. I thought that it was an okay movie. I liked the animation. I wasn't always 100% with the story, but I had a good time watching it.
I liked it.
People clapped at the end of Incredibles 2 when I went to go see it.
Yeah, because it's a nostalgic movie that just came back with part 2.
It's a real crowd pleaser.
Yes, it is.
But I think I definitely like the first one way better than the second one. The only thing I can say that the second one did better is that the animation and the textures were much better.
And also they confirmed some Pixar lore as well from different movies.
Yeah. I don't think anything came out in 2019, but then Soul came out in 2020. I like Soul. Oh, no, actually something did came before Soul. Onward, the Chris Pratt and Tom Holland one. The one where they were like trolls.
Oh, the Trolls one. Yeah, I've seen that one.
I didn't see that one in theaters because COVID happened and they pulled it out of theaters real fast.
I seen it.
And I know it's on Disney Plus, but I haven't gone around to see it.
I seen it.
Did you like it?
I did.
Was it good?
It was good. I
All
liked
right.
it. The animation and everything was perfect. It was amazing.
I'll have
but
to
a lot
check
of
it
people
out.
criticized it how the story could have been a little bit different.
That's really like the problem with like modern Pixar. They used to have like really good stories like Toy Story and Finding Nemo. And then
like just to give out what Onward was about, it was just basically following two dwarves. Their main characteristic is that they remember every big event of their lives.
Yeah.
They remember all the big events that happens in their lives, and the whole. And
it was a brother story too.
It was a brother story about trying to revive their dad because their dad was a wizard. In this story
You're a wizard, Harry.
Shut up. So in this concept in the world, this world was all about magic, wizardry, learning spells, and training new people to use those spells to help the community and save people from monsters and everything and curses. But later on, when people were learning to learn magic again, like the old generation trying to teach the new generation of magic and everything, like because wizards in this world were the biggest people that help around and were asked to help and get jobs from that. But since now, during this time, technology was being created. Like people that were more smaller than us learned to create electricity, motor vehicles, and everything. Yeah. And sooner or later, all of the old generation started to fade off.
Because it's not a Lord of the Rings type fantasy. It's like a modern day fantasy.
Yeah, so and like every magical creature and everything, like unicorns, mermaids, and all that. Like, what was there's a lot of creatures that were like animals that didn't have consciousness. I know our unicorns were. And unicorns were these like beautiful creatures that fly around. They were all happy and giddy and they guide people to... or let them ride them. In this universe, they're the raccoons. They were raccoons in this one. His scene and go shh, and flying away, all dirty, wings all dirty. They're not pure no more. One of their horns were not even completely out. Some of them were broken. Some of them were all chipped.
Yeah,
like all of them that they no longer were no more. Like there were a lot of centaurs that can run faster than any car. Two ride cars. Mermaids that can swim miles and miles without boats. Ride on boats. It's like every nature of who they were, they can better themselves in the world. They don't do it. They just use technology or vehicles or whatever to get them to their locations. Everything that made them special in their own environment is no longer special because they don't do it.
Yup. I'll definitely have to check it out sometime because I can't really say that much about the movie.
Well, we watch it together because I really liked watching it. It was
all right. We can probably do a whole episode on it too.
Yeah.
Probably like fill out some content.
Yeah, we can add that.
Soul. I'll say this about Soul. I really like the music in Soul. The music was really well done. And it makes sense because the story's about a musician.
Oh my god, I forgot about the dragon. The dragons are pets now. No longer creatures that kills people.
So that means if you were in that world, you'd be somebody's pet.
Shit, man. My kind has gone downhill.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, now I was gonna say something fucked up, but no.
Yeah,
no.
Shut up. You already did that on my stream.
Oh yeah.
All right. Anyways, we don't need to mention that. If you want to find out, go to my streams.
Oh no, Toy Story 4 came out in 2019. I forgot.
Oh yeah, Woody getting
lost. It kind of sucked. Toy Story 4 kind of sucked.
Yeah, it's just a story of Woody being lost. That's it. And Woody
it was nothing. It didn't feel special.
It didn't really feel special. It just feels like just Woody no longer being the leader of the pack no more, and he's giving it that to Jessie, and he just wants to be with Bond, the first girlfriend and wife he ever had.
Yeah.
Because his mindset was to be the mission, to be played with, and make the kid happy, while the others were just having fun with anyone else because. Woody is a cowboy, a sheriff that leads the town and leads everybody to what the goal should be. When Woody finally found Paul Peep and the sheeps again and seeing that toys are just being played with whatever and ever and getting joy and making the kid happy, Woody saw that you don't need to be with only one kid to get your job done. You could get played with by anyone to make your job complete. To make the kid happy. That's what his resolution was. So when they were still trying to be with the kid, Woody, knowing that experience, don't want want to be that lifestyle. So when they were telling Woody, let's go back, Woody said, no, I want to be here, be with Paul Pete and having
Bo
fun
Peep,
with the kids.
Yeah. One little fact about Bo Peep. Do you know that her voice actress is the same actress who plays Meemaw on Young Sheldon?
Oh, Meemaw.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's just give our thoughts quickly on Luca, Lightyear, and Turning Red. Luca, I thought was very boring.
Same.
I didn't want to watch it again.
No.
Turning Red, I thought it was very interesting. It was very different, and it probably feels like the most mature Pixar movie that has come out because of the subject matter.
There's also a lot of new memes that came out as well that is very sus.
Yeah. But I enjoyed Turning Red. I watched it a few times when it first came out.
I watched it only once. I thought it was weird. But I saw a lot of references.
It was weird, but I thought the story was charming enough. I enjoyed it.
It was charming enough.
Lightyear.
I wish it comes back. People around the world being bitches because they had lesbian relationship. I have friends with lesbians. I'm currently talking to a lesbian, doing a commission for her right now, and she's a fun freaking woman.
Yeah, people really need to get off their homophobia.
Yeah, what the hell, China? Get off of that shit.
China and Russia.
Exactly. The fuck is wrong with you?
I'm a Vladimir Putin. I'm a be putting these nuts in your mouth, eh?
Any words
in Minecraft.
Any words he says is not referred to the character and person of Ryu Dragon in this.
In Minecraft.
In Minecraft, okay.
I didn't like the twist in Lightyear, but we won't spoil that.
Lightyear was good. Bring the sequel out. I want to see what happens. There's
a Starman. Yeah. So unfortunately, yeah. Like, so this Elemental and Lightyear were both big bombs for Pixar.
Even though they were good animation and good story, everything.
I liked Elemental more, Ed, but I do feel like one thing about Pixar is like Pixar isn't really like innovating anymore, and I think that's probably like their biggest problem. Because you know what this also kind of feels like? Do you remember like in the early 2000s when Disney was kind of like experimenting doing like action movies like Atlantis, the Lost Empire, and Treasure Planet?
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, those were really good, but they came out during a time where Pixar was really starting to like rise in popularity, and also DreamWorks was coming out with like, Shrek and like Shark Tale and all those movies. So that was during a time where like people were starting to focus more on 3D animation instead of 2D animation, and a lot of people really love the art style and the animation of both Treasure Planet and Atlantis, the Lost Empire, because they were so different from what Disney was even doing at the time. And this kind of feels sort of similar because now Pixar is bombing and then other studios are succeeding over Pixar. Because like Universal, like the Mario movie made $1 billion, and no other animated movie so far has outgrossed the Mario movie. Spider-Verse right now is at 600 million, and it's gonna be doing, and I think it might get to like 800 million. But yeah, like Disney's really struggling right now.
They should make more unique movies.
Exactly, and also they should experiment more with their animation because like it just baffles me that Disney is falling behind on animation and other people are doing way better animation than what they are doing. I just can't understand it. I can't comprehend it.
It's funny how Disney is failing on animation, even though they were focused on animation movies.
They were the only studio in Hollywood for many, many years
who animated stories. Yeah,
who respected and who actually tried to push forward the animation medium, but now it's just I don't know what's going on with them.
They're going downhill, brother. They're going downhill, brother. They're gonna die.
Because they're releasing that new movie called Wish. Have you seen the trailer for that one?
Yes, I have.
It looks kind of ass to me.
When I went to watch Element. Oh shit! Fuck. Yeah. Sorry. There you go.
Yeah, but it looks kind of ass to me. I don't like that art style.
It doesn't look good. honestly, the animation didn't look good. Yeah, it looks like they were under budget.
Yeah, it does. It seems like they rushed it.
It feels like it's like oh, here's the A movie, work on the B movie, and then it's the B movie.
Exactly. Yeah. What, did Jerry Seinfeld make that one?
I don't know.
You
maybe
like jazz?
You like jazz?
Yeah, but that one looks like really cheap. I don't even want to see that one. The only other animated movie I'm interested this year is the Turtles, and that's it.
Oh yeah, the Turtles coming out in a couple of weeks. So
yes, August 2nd.
We should make plans to watch that right now, brother.
That's a good one. But yeah, so let's just give our final thoughts. What would you rate the movie Elemental?
I'll rate it a 6 out of 10.
Oh wow, same. 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Very solid movie. Could have been better in some places.
Yep.
But it was a really nice romance.
Yes, it was.
And I like the themes that the story was touching upon.
Yes, it did. There was a lot of themes they were touching upon on some things. I really enjoyed that.
I feel like this movie is like a safe movie to put on, like say like on Christmas or Thanksgiving.
Yes.
You know, this is the kind of movie that won't offend anybody in like your family if you put it on the TV.
Yep. It's a good movie. Should have a sequel.
But yeah, it's a good movie. But that was our review of the movie Elemental.
And others as well.
And other Pixar movies. Tell us what you thought about Elemental down in the comments. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What'd you think of it?
Do you believe it should have a second sequel, even though it didn't really get a good box market?
Box office? Yeah,
box office.
Or do you think it should get like a spin-off movie, like a direct to Disney Plus or like a Disney Channel show?
It would be good to know the story. I'm very invested now.
I think it'll work as a show. If they do it like an episodic show, they don't have to go too deep with the emotions, and they can just focus on the world.
Yes, that would be good.
Also, tell us, my lovely co-host, where can we find you on the internets?
For right now, my name is still the same, but its future is gonna change. The name is gonna change in the future. It is Dragon9074 at Twitch/TV. So if you guys want to watch any streams, I've been streaming more often now. Every time I have a chance to stream, I stream. So if you want any more content from my side for gamings or just talking random odd topics or any questions at the podcast, you can just join me right there.
Link to his Twitch in the description. You can go follow us at Anime Match Pod on Twitter. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for new vids every week. We're also on Instagram at Anime Match Cut Podcast. We're also on Threads, the new social media.
The Twitter killer. Join it.
Kill join Twitter. Us at Anime Match Cut.
Murder that bird. You know the hunting the Mockingjay? We're hunting the Twitter bird.
Yeah,
go in,
boy.
make guard of it. Hunting the blue bird as thread with a bow and shooting it in their damn head.
We're going to use the thread from Threads to the Twitter bird.
Do it.
Yeah. So join us on those social medias and we'll check you out for the next one. See ya.
See ya.